Hi, fourth graders. This week for Reading Workshop, we have been continuing using strategies to comprehend Just Right books. So in Read Aloud, right now we're working with The Castle in the Attic. And you're going to apply those strategies that we learned in Reading Workshop last week and this week for comprehending texts to the book Castle in the Attic. So we have three different objectives that we're focusing on today for your lesson. So one, good readers pay attention to the title and genre of a book to better comprehend or understand the story. Good readers pay attention to the characters and setting to better understand the story. And good readers pay attention to the important events in the story to better understand it. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be completing this chart here with the genre, the settings, some of the characters and their traits, and then some of the important events that have happened in the story. So right here we have this chart right here on epic fantasy. So remember that we're reading The Castle in the Attic. That's the title of our story, right? What do we already know about castles? What do we know about attics, right? Think about those things before we begin reading so that you better understand what happens in the story, okay? Our author's Elizabeth Winthrop. Now, that might not necessarily help you better understand the story, but if you're reading a book out of a series and you notice that it has the same author, right, for a series, or if you've read other books by that author, it might help you better understand that author's style and better understand the book. Next is the genre, and this is one that you're going to fill in. So think about the genre, right? The type of story Castle in the Attic is. Is it fiction or nonfiction? Well, I know it's fiction because it's a made-up story, but what kind of fiction is it? Is it realistic? Is it historical? Or is it fantasy? Well, I also know that this is a fantasy story because it could never happen in real life. There's magic tokens. The setting is also fantastical, so we know that that's going to be a fantasy book. After that, you're going to be putting in the setting of the book. Now, there's two main settings in Castle in the Attic. The first setting is the real world. So for setting number one, I want you to tell me, what's the setting for the real world? Well, it's William's house in the attic. So for the first setting, I would put William's house. Now, the second setting is our fantastical land, right? And that is Sir Simon's world, or Beyond the Castle. So make sure that you put that for the second setting, okay? For characters, you're gonna think about each of the characters: William, Sir Simon, Mrs. Phillips, and Alistair. These are our main characters. And I want you to give me a character trait for each of them. Remember, character traits are adjectives we use to describe characters. So for example, I might say that Alistair is evil, okay? Or that William he's beginning to be brave. At the beginning of the book, he's kind of shy and tends to lie, untruthful. So maybe we can say untruthful and shy at first. Okay. Now, I want you to give me an adjective for Sir Simon. Remember that he's a knight. And an adjective for Mrs. Phillips. Next are the events. Oftentimes as fourth graders, I think that the events can be really tricky for us, right? Trying to identify what are the most important events. Well, knowing that we only have 4 events that your teacher's asking for you, think, what are the 4 most important events that you've read so far? Okay. Well, the most important event, I think, at the beginning of the book is when William gets the castle, right? That's very important. The second might be that he decides to shrink down himself and Mrs. Phillips inside of the castle, right? I would say the third is when they begin to go on a quest, right? And the fourth so far would be him getting through the forest. Now, you might find other parts of the story to be more important, but go ahead and put what you think are the most 4 important events in the story so far. And that's about it. So I know that you can do it. And after you complete this, make sure you turn it in. I can't pause it. What's going on? There we go.